Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing another movie review for you all. This movie is a horror film from Canada, English language, released in the year 2022, directed by David Cronenberg, and this film is called Crimes of the Future. So Crimes of the Future is about the evolution of the human body. We have, in a synthetic world, we have an artistic performer with the help of his partner, travelling around and doing public surgeries, showcasing his ability to regenerate organs with the help of a synthetic process. So this is something that he believes is going to better humanity, but unfortunately, during the film, he's going to realise that maybe it's going to lead to the destruction of humanity. So whether or not he realises in time, before he crosses that point of no return, is something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Crimes of the Future. David Cronenberg is a director that I haven't fully gravitated to, but he's been a director that I've always respected, and I've always been excited to see his next project for the simple fact that he keeps true to his own world, but he's not afraid to push that envelope as far as creativity is concerned. So when you come to modern day directors, they're more concerned about making money than they are about their own craft, and so they fall into a generic quality where you've seen one, you've seen them all. And so David Cronenberg, along with other legendary filmmakers, they're not afraid to actually push that envelope because they believe that their world creating is enough to actually make the money back. And so artistic quality is definitely the forefront of what they're doing, and so that's something of a forgotten art, and that's the reason why I've always respected David Cronenberg, the creator of body horror. And so there are very memorable qualities to his movies, but with each experience you feel as though you're watching something different without straying from the world that he's created. And so Crimes of the Future was definitely a movie I needed to check out. A lot of people didn't like this movie, even David Cronenberg fans didn't like it. So when you've got a movie that split the audiences in the middle, that is another showcase of confidence, and so that's another reason why I wanted to check this movie out. Kristen Stewart and Viggo Mortensen are in it, so that's another enticing quality. And I thought the trailer looked very strange. It's a very bizarre movie, and so again, that's another reason why the curiosity levels and the excitement levels were very high, but because I haven't fully gravitated to this director, my expectations were at a very cautious level. So after watching this movie finally, I will say that I was completely absorbed in David Cronenberg's world of Crimes of the Future, and I was surprised at how much I really liked this movie. This is a film that I'd go as far to say is one of my favourite David Cronenberg films, and I can understand why it had a lot of hate behind it, because it's not your typical horror film. And this is again another showcase of what makes David Cronenberg so good, is that he's pushed the envelope even further. This is not a generic horror film. This is a horror film that hits you on a different level to what you would expect from his previous experiences, but it has enough trademark in there to not steer clear of what David Cronenberg is known for. And what David Cronenberg is known for is body horror, and body horror is definitely the driving force of Crimes of the Future. This is a movie about the evolution of the human body, but the evolution in a very dark way. This is a movie about art and how far art can go before it becomes too provocative and it becomes a negative. And so this is a movie that has a lot of curiosity floating around, but it's a world that you can't help but feel glued to the screen. It's a very hypnotic film that is down from the visuals and the very bizarre characters that this movie has. This is a very, very disturbing film. It's a very, very dark film, and I just felt very uncomfortable because I hadn't actually seen a movie of this formula before. It didn't actually have a straightforward plan. It didn't have a blueprint of what a usual movie has. You have a beginning, a middle, and an end. This movie didn't feel as though it had a beginning, a middle, and an end. It just felt like it was a world, and that world was a nightmare and didn't want the dream to end. And so it's got some very, very challenging themes. There's a lot of self-mutilation in this movie that I thought was incredibly uncomfortable. There's very gory surgery scenes that I thought were very hard to watch. And so it's not your generic gory horror film. It does have gore in there, but it's not the type of gore that you would expect, you know, coming into an extreme horror film. And so that's something that it maintains that level of difference. You've got the creativity in the story, creativity in the characters, and just creativity in the set pieces. It's all very, very different, and that's something that I appreciate, but then again, that's something I can understand people not liking very much. So it's a movie that will make you think about the evolution of the human body, and it's a showcase of how good David Cronenberg is. And so this is the first movie of his that I've actually really, really liked. It's a movie that I can appreciate for the simple fact that it is very creative. It's a movie that has the confidence to push that envelope and not recycle things that he's done in the past that he knows has been successful. That would have been a very easy thing to do, but it showcased that he still has that passion for filmmaking, and there's no finer example than that of Crimes of the Future. So if I have issues with this movie, it's not going to be for everyone. As I said, it just seems to float around and go around in circles, but strangely it works. I just felt as though, okay, it's not really following a story. I'm just going into a labyrinth of really surreal imagery, very bizarre interactions with very bizarre characters. But by the end of the film, I thought, all right, I've actually watched a film with the story, but it was just told in a very different way. And so creativity is not a lost art, thankfully, and David Cronenberg is an example of that. So if it sounds like your kind of thing, go out there and see Crimes of the Future, but go in there with caution, because just because I loved it doesn't mean you're going to love it, and this is exactly what filmmaking should be about. So overall, for Crimes of the Future, going to give this one 4 stars. I really, really liked it. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.